Welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Dual Destinies. Holy crap, in the last episode, what even happened there? We talked to Athena about her situation, and she's basically blacked everything out, as any normal person would. But now, we're going to reenact a trial from 7 years ago that implicated Simon Blackwell, who's been our prosecutor all this time. We're going to reenact his trial from 7 years ago to try to prove him innocent. But now, his sister Aura is saying that Athena was the one who committed the crime instead. That she actually killed her mother, which of course, we've been through this before with Maya, thinking that she'd killed her mom. So, I did a little research. Okay. I looked into the special psyche locks you mentioned, Mr. Nick. You did. That's great. Yeah, because Pearl wasn't in Apollo Justice, so did we even get a chance to ever tell her about those? You did. That's great. I really appreciate it. A red psyche lock protects a secret a person is consciously trying to hide. If the person folds under questioning, the lock breaks and the truth comes out. Yep, that's exactly how I got the truth out of Detective Fulbright and Director Cosmos. But a black psyche lock protects a secret from the deepest place in a person's heart. A secret that person isn't even consciously aware of. So even they don't know it's there. Athena isn't trying to keep anything from you on purpose. For some reason, part of her heart and her memories are sealed off, even from herself. Okay, so all I have to do is break the psyche locks. According to my research, a black psyche lock is like a heavy chain wrapped directly around one's heart. If they are ripped off by force, it could cause permanent damage to a person's soul. In other words, if I'm not careful, I could traumatize Athena for good. Gulp. Pearls, could you stay by Athena's side? She must be suffering under the weight of such a heavy burden. Alright, but you'll be alright by yourself, Mr. Nick? I'm up against Edgeworth. I have to be able to give this trial all of my focus and strength. You can't do that if I'm there. I'll just hold you back. No, you wouldn't. You sweet little cinnamon roll, you. That's not it. I just meant I can relax and concentrate if I knew you were with Athena. You're the only one who can do it, Pearls. Alright. I'll do it then. Good luck, Mr. Nick. And here we are. Good! Now that she's out of here, better get ready. I'll just tidy up the evidence, since we won't be tidying up the room that we're going to be presenting it in, and take out what I don't need. It's time to end this nightmare that started 7 years ago. Okay then, so we're down from 17 pieces of evidence to what, 14? Something? I don't know. Courtroom number 4, baby. Defense, prosecution, and judge. There are even people in the gallery. The roof has been completely blown off and the walls have collapsed. But today this ruin is my battleground. Why is the robot on the witness stand? Court, or some facsimile thereof, is now in session for the trial of Athena Sykes. Why am I doing this? Not a facsimile, old man. This is a proper official trial. Take this more seriously, or you'll start hearing the bones of the hostages snap. Please try not to upset Miss Blackwell. Begging you. Court is now in session for the very serious and very proper trial of Athena Sykes. Oh my god, there he is! Oh, this is no trial. It's nothing more than a ridiculous farce. What did you say? Edgeworth, did you not hear what I just said to his honor? However, this ridiculous farce has a very important meaning for our legal system. Recall the case of the UR1 incident, in which a prosecutor was found guilty of murder. Well, he wasn't a prosecutor then, was he? Or yeah, I guess he was. I don't know. That case ushered in the odious dark age of the law. I see what you're after. We can find the real truth behind that case today. Precisely, the darkness shall be dispelled, and glory shall be restored to the court system. Prosecutor Edgeworth, you sound as if you know something of this truth. I do indeed. A new suspect has emerged in the UR1 case. For 7 years, Simon Blackwell has refused to speak in order to cover for someone else. Brace yourself, Phoenix. Here it comes. I'm sorry, Wright, but the situation is what it is, and I must do what I must. The prosecution moves to indict Athena Sykes on the count of murder in the first degree. That must not have been easy to say. I'm gonna blow my nose here. Oh, jeez.
Regardless the circumstance, I intend to question the defendant with all I have. For that is a part of my creed.
Then you better bring it.
If the two of you are ready. Court is now in session for the trial of Athena Sykes.
Your Honor, the defense was born ready.
The prosecution is also ready.
Oh my god, that was hilarious, but so good. Oh my god, they made this entire game just so they could do that. This immense tension between us. It's like we're picking up right where we left off. It's my duty to clear Prosecutor Blackwell of false accusations and end this insanity. But I have no intention of losing Miss Sykes either. She's a very promising young lawyer. I know without a doubt that Athena is innocent. But I don't think Prosecutor Blackwell did it either. Ooh. So do you have any clue who was responsible for the sabotage? At the very least, I know it wasn't Simon Blackwell. I don't know about these voices anymore. I don't know how to identify the true culprit, but it's clear what that person is. To put it simply, a spy. A spy. The true culprit is a spy. It's gonna be hard to convince anyone of that when I barely believe it myself. But I don't have a choice if I want to save Athena and Blackwell and expose the spy. All in a day's work, right? Now then, Chief Prosecutor Edgeworth. Huh. No need for the Chief Prosecutor bit, Your Honor. I'm here as a simple prosecutor. Man, so humble. Very well, your opening statement, please, Prosecutor Edgeworth. Although I've been known of late to give an impressive opening statement myself. In all the trials I've ever seen, only the prosecution gives an opening statement. Of course, you're right. I was just joking, just having a little fun. So he wasn't doing them just out of fear. Interesting. Let's start with a brief overview of the UR1 incident. Alright, let's. The incident occurred at the Cosmos Space Center 7 years ago, on October 7th. The victim, psychologist Meta Sykes, was killed in the robotics lab on the 4th floor. Athena's mother. Simon Blackwell, a young prosecutor at the time, was found guilty of the crime. There were two deciding factors that led to his guilty verdict. One, Blackwell was the only person in the corridor to the lab at the time of the murder. And two, this photo, which captured the moment of the crime. I don't know, that photo, there's something like... It almost looks like the sword is like sticking out of him. So maybe there's somebody behind him holding the sword or something? Or maybe he was taking the sword back from somebody? I don't know. Very incriminating evidence indeed. And the blood's already on the sword at that point, so... It would appear that the only conclusion is that Prosecutor Blackwell did indeed. Hold it. Are you kidding me? I'm not accepting any conclusion of the kind. This opening statement is over. Now, hurry up and call the witness. Excuse me, Miss Blackwell, but we must follow proper procedure for these things, you know? You tell that asshole. Or perhaps she would need her wishes, Your Honor. She is the trial sponsor, after all. Oh, we should heed her wishes, yeah. Besides, the courtroom is chilly, and sitting for too long can't be good for your back. Oh, you're very kind to show such concern for the welfare of the elderly. Just skilled as ever playing the court puppeteer, I see. You got some wit for a blumpkin, you know. Prosecution calls its first witness. A witness who decided to bring forth new testimony after 7 long years. New testimony? Just who is this witness anyway? I don't know. Oh? Really? Bobby Fulbright's the name, and justice we trust. Okay, what are you doing here? I'm just here to speak for the hostage taker, Miss Aura Blackwell. She says she's too busy, what with confining and threatening the hostages and all. That doesn't seem to stop her from constantly chiming in through Klonko. I'm nothing more than an observer in this. Do your best, I'm watching you. Believing her brother innocent, Miss Blackwell has been conducting her own investigation. And though her current actions are hardly lawful, I think we can at least hear her theory. I have here Miss Blackwell's notes on the investigation she conducted. And I'll be giving testimony based on these notes. Here I go! Jeez. Oh man, that stance, I tell you. Okay. Simon isn't the murderer. He was trying to cover for someone. Someone else was at the scene at the time they say Simon committed the murder. I mean, if he really was out to steal that moon rock, then why the rolling case? Because he was using it to hide someone inside, that's why. And the only person small enough to fit inside that case was Athena Sykes. Okay, so she's saying he used the rolling case to... Man, they alluded to that too when Pearl made that little joke about it, but little did we know. And that's Miss Blackwell's theory. It totally goes in the face of the official ruling, huh? About the case she mentions, there were other rolling cases like that one in the lab. But they're not for traveling, they're apparently for moving parts and equipment. I vaguely remember seeing 3 cases, all different sizes, yep. At the last trial, they thought that Prosecutor Blackwell used the case to steal the rock. And they had a perfectly good reason to think that, too. You see, there's a security camera in the corridor that leads to the robotics lab. And that camera captured footage of Blackwell leaving the scene with the case. Oh, see why that footage helped to bring this trial to a quick end. It's very convincing, that's for sure. Ugh, okay. Video showing the corridor to the crime scene. Blackwell was the only one to pass through at the time of the crime. That case, by the way, was later discovered outside on the Space Center grounds. Speaking of after the incident, where was the defendant Athena Sykes found? She was found on the 5th floor of the Space Center in the Sykes family residence. Prosecutor Blackwell most likely brought her there after the incident. In addition, it's unknown where Miss Sykes was at the estimated time of death. Miss Sykes was too confused by the shock of her mother's death to give proper testimony, and there was no witness or evidence to tell us where she might have been. So what you're saying is Miss Sykes didn't have an alibi. That is what the evidence is saying, yes. But you also can't prove that she was there. I understand the reasoning behind the theory, but I'm far from convinced. The victim is the accused's mother. Are you actually claiming an 11-year-old girl? Of course the girl had a very strong motive. What is that? Dr. Sykes was a psychologist who wrote many papers about... Well, I guess they're going to say, oh, she didn't care about her, she cared more about her robots and stuff. You're aware of Athena Sykes' special ability, aren't you, Your Honor? Are you referring to that therapy thing? Yes, she's done it quite a few times in court. The ability to read emotions from speech and the subject of her mother's research. Well, as long as it benefits society, I don't see any particular problem researching it. My throat is nasty today. I don't like where this is heading, not one bit. Dr. Sykes was so intent on her research that she forced her daughter to undergo experiments. Prosecutor Edgeworth, are you seriously suggesting? I've done my best to be delicate, but even you can't deny it to be true, Mr. Wright. No longer able to withstand the anguish of the experiments, Miss Sykes felt her only choice was to kill her own mother. So then it's possible... Shit! I pulled my headphones out of my ears, man. Order in the court! Knock it off! What a tragic story. I hardly want to believe it myself. But we must proceed, Mr. Wright, if you could. Judge Fulbright, please refer to the notes. I mean, if that's really true, then couldn't someone else have done the killing to save her from it? Like someone else who loved Athena or something? Maybe one of the robots did it. I don't even know. Simon isn't the murderer. He was trying to cover for someone. We're pressing it all, baby. Pressing it all! So Prosecutor Blackwell willingly accepted a death sentence to protect someone else? Yes, that is precisely what Miss Blackwell appears to believe. And that is what I believe as well. Prosecutor Blackwell is no murderer, Mr. Wright. But Athena Sykes certainly didn't kill anyone either, Mr. Edgeworth. So it appears neither of us can afford to go easy on the other. Fine, I expected no less. Oh, I remember this tense atmosphere. It's so invigorating. Yes, it is. I was just thinking that, too. I'm only reading notes here, but yeah, I feel like they're invigorated, too, so let's keep going. Man. Someone else was at the scene at the time they say Simon committed the murder, okay? Bring it. But that's just speculation. Wow, Edgeworth, was that you? You sound a little different. No, Miss Blackwell has proper grounds for her claims.
Objection!
No, she doesn't. Then why didn't you say so in the first place?
Objection!
I did say so before. You're the one who screamed, "Hold it!" and cut me off. Fine. Fine, so maybe I jumped the gun by a teeny weeny bit. Now I know what they mean when they say close enough to argue. Moving on. Okay. Jeez. I mean, if he really was out to steal that moon rock, then why the rolling case? Let me read that again. If he really was out to steal the moon rock, then why the rolling case? Yeah, because she's trying to say he didn't do it. But she's not denying that he stole the moon rock. I think.
Hold it!
This rolling case, I suppose you mean the one in the video. Or one of those. Oh, you can see, yeah, sure enough. There's one missing. It was the biggest one, too. Yes, that's the one. And Miss Blackwell has drawn a conclusion from these two photos. She has? What is that conclusion? You're the one with her notes. I was gonna say, dude. I think she's probably gonna jump in and set him straight here. Or maybe not. Because he was using it to hide someone inside, that's why. Okay. How do you propose he hit a person inside one of those cases? Have you forgotten that we saw just such a thing only the other day? At our own daughter's magic show, she fit a grown person into a small box. Oh yeah! Way to ruin the memory of a good day. A magic show? Wish you would have thought to invite me! Actually, I would have liked to go too! My apologies. I'll invite you both next time. I promise. So anyway, wait a minute. What were we talking about again? Prosecutor Blackwell was using the case to hide someone. Yeah, so she's saying he used it to hide Athena to cover up for her. And the only person small enough to fit inside that case was Athena Sykes. Alright. It's time. It's the final statement, let's do it. But that's nothing more than conjecture, and that's hardly the only possibility. In that case, what do you think Prosecutor Blackwell had in that case? His luggage. I think it was the moon rock.
Objection!
Oh no. There were 3 cases at the scene, but Prosecutor Blackwell used the largest one. The moon rock was egg-shaped and only about 8 inches in diameter. It wouldn't have made any sense to use the largest case there, just to move the rock.
Objection!
Well, maybe you wanted to throw people off. Be that as it may, it doesn't prove Miss Sykes was inside. Yep. Then let me ask you this. Can you come up with a better theory of what was in the case? Well, Mr. Wright, can you? I mean, what do we know here? The sword, maybe? Let's give a guy some time to think. Let's see. Should I try to bluff my way through what could have been in that case? Well, bluffing is kind of our specialty, isn't it? Let's try it. I know exactly what Prosecutor Blackwell carried from the scene. I just have to find something else that was missing, right? No sweat. Oh, I'd be very interested in hearing your theory. If it's true, that is. This is a crime scene photo. I don't see the katana anywhere here. Wait! It's right there! It's on the ground. Crap! Alright then, Mr. Wright, let us hear your theory. Shoot, I wasn't that serious about it anyway. I mean, like, I don't even know if the sword would fit into the biggest one. What did Prosecutor Blackwell take from the scene of the murder? Can I look at the other picture from here? I totally can. Well, I mean, it looks... There does appear to be something here. What? No. I'm not trying to do that. There's something here that doesn't seem to be in the other picture. I don't know what that is, though. It looks like it's something wrapped in bandages and then somebody sliced and diced it a bunch of times. Please notice that there's a robot part on top of the... Oh, it's a robot part. Okay. However, in this photo taken after the crime, the robot part is gone. Yep. In other words, this part is something that was taken from the scene of the crime. But why? You do appear to be right. I don't see it in the second picture. But it's just a piece of junk. How important could it be? Is it really just an insignificant robot part? Speaking of which... What are you looking at? I'm gonna start charging for each glance per eyeball. Stingy. What happened to the age of free previews? Your Honor, about this robot part. Doesn't it look like it could be an arm from that robot there? Well, now that you mention it, it does, doesn't it? But the case is still too big to be practical for just the moon rock and a robot arm. But was it really just the one arm that was in there? If it wasn't Athena in the case, then maybe... I believe there was another robot at the scene that looks just like the one here. Your Honor, it is the defense's assertion that it was this other robot that was in the case. What? Uh-oh. It's going for it.
Objection!
Just talking about the other robot, then. I mean, we can't be certain that Paul belonged to a robot. Yes, it looks like the arm of the one before us, but it could be something else entirely. Besides, it's wrapped entirely in bandaging, making it difficult to verify what it is.
Objection!
I know for a fact that it is a robot arm. I can even tell which robot it belongs to, just by looking at it. With this information, we can investigate whether it was there at the time or not. But Mr. Wright, I think I know what he's talking about. I thought you were more of the technologically illiterate type. When did you become such an expert? I feel somehow abandoned. Not to worry, Your Honor, I still know next to nothing about machines. But I know this piece of evidence proves which robot the arm belongs to. Okay, the picture of, Athena's mother, where the robot was in the picture, and it had bandages on it. Where was that picture? There you go. It's that right there. That's what we want.
Take that!
The robot in this picture is named Ponko. But take a look at Ponko's arm. It was Miss Sykes who bandaged it up like that. Who bandaged it up that like. She must have thought the machines heal in the same way that people do. What an adorable, naive mistake. It reminds me of my own grandchild. The robot arm... well, drop that subject. The robot arm at the crime scene had the same bandaging wrapped around it. In other words, this robot arm could belong to none other than Ponko. Like Ponko's an actual character in this or something. Order in the court. Order, I say! Prosecutor Edgeworth, what do you have to say to this? I can see that the robot is about the same size as a child, but it cannot grab its knees and curl itself up into a ball. Even if it was the largest of the cases, the robot couldn't possibly fit in there. The case comes up to about mid-thigh on Prosecutor Blackwell. You're talking about its size? I see your point. The robot is much taller than that. They've got me there. Well, I mean, shoot. So then did Prosecutor Blackwell make Ponko fit in the case by dismantling her or compacting her? Dismantling, probably? Of course Ponko would fit. All Prosecutor Blackwell had to do was dismantle her. Once taken apart, the robot could have easily fit inside that rolling case. Still don't know why he would do that, though. It appears to be a robot assembly device. Disassemble anything in a flash. Push the dismantle button. Yep. That sounds pretty neat. Can I push it, Mr. Nick? Now, what happens if you put a person on there and push that? It sounds rather violent, but Mr. Wright does have a point there. Except that there was a body on the table where robots are dismantled and assembled. There would have been no room to take the robot apart. Maybe he just used a screwdriver. But what if it wasn't done on the table? What if the katana was used instead? Oh. She's not going to admit it if it is. Oh. I guess so. The joints are made of a very tough material. Blade could slice through them. Thank you for your expert opinion. And for not lying, because she could have said, well, no, there's no way. You can't mean. That's exactly what I mean. This photo does not capture the moment of the murder at all. It is instead a picture of the moment after the robot was sliced apart. But there's blood on the katana, though. And so the robots bleed? Is that battery acid? Okay, he used the bloody katana. Doesn't mean that he killed her, though. Not hearing this. Therefore, what was transported inside that case was not the defendant, but a robot. Miss Sykes never was at the scene at the time of the murder. Oh, jeez. My head, my body. Where am I? This game has the best animations ever. This is so great. Man, look, what a mess. I actually had pictured it being messier than this, though. So I'm glad it still at least quasi resembles a courtroom. Quasi, I don't think I used that word right. The photo shows Blackwell taking the robot apart. There's a blood stain on the end of the robot's arm. Yes, finally making some progress here. Hopefully I've gotten at least one step closer to proving both Athena and Prosecutor Blackwell innocent. What you got, man? Well played, Mr. Wright. You made your point abundantly clear. I concede that it wasn't the defendant inside the rolling case, but the robot. Alright, what's going on here? It's never good when he plays things this straight. Does the prosecution withdraw its claim that the defendant was carried from the scene? No, Your Honor. My claim hasn't changed. How so? But Ponko and Miss Sykes couldn't have both been inside that case. The notion that the case was used to carry Miss Sykes was Miss Blackwell's theory. I have been of a different opinion from the outset. I played Wind Waker. Now I finally have the opportunity to voice my theory. She walked out. But of course the camera would have seen her. Thanks to the defense. What? There's always gonna be a line like this in there somewhere. He's been one step ahead of me the whole time! In that case, how do you propose the defendant left the crime scene? Simple. The footage only shows Prosecutor Blackwell from behind. What's more, he's holding his arm in front of his body, as if he were holding something or someone. That's hardly evidence. Are you sure? I mean, her hair would have shown up. Never mind. I have proof. The surcoat Prosecutor Blackwell was wearing. The victim's blood was found on the front of it, and the stain had a highly distinctive shape. A blood stain? With a distinctive shape? Please continue, Prosecutor Edgeworth. I don't like this at all. 7 years ago, the defendant was known to constantly wear a certain item, of which there's only one in the world. A special pair of headphones made just for her. Oh, she's so precious in this picture. She said her mother made them for her as part of her research. Analysis showed the bloodstain to be in the exact same shape as these headphones. In other words, this was no mere blood splatter. The blood went from the victim's body to the headphones and then was imprinted onto Prosecutor Blackwell's coat like a stamp. A most gruesome stamp indeed. Blackwell carried Miss Sykes, who had been hit by splatter, away from the crime scene. This proves that Destiny Sykes was, without question, present at the crime scene. And that, as they say, is that. Damn. Smooth as silk, man. I'm surprised he's not still bowing in that shot. Order. If the defendant was indeed at the scene, it deepens the suspicion against her.
Objection!
But we've also shown that the robot was there at the scene as well. Are we sure this is just a mock trial? This feels very real. I'm not thinking about the fact that this is fake at all. They're probably going to bring that up right at the end, too, you know? Like, oh, well, this wasn't a real trial, though, so you didn't prove shit. But we've also shown that the robot was there at the scene as well. I hope you're not making the ridiculous claim that a simple robot was the real murderer. I don't really think that, no, but you can't say the possibility isn't there. Detective Fulbright, was the robot questioned at the time? No, I don't see any record of it. I believe it was considered unrelated to the case. Oh boy. But as it turned out, the robot was actually integrally related. Your Honor, the defense would like to call Ponko to the stand. What? Boy, first a parrot, now Ponko. From a parrot to Ponko. Next time, the period of justice. Order in the court. Prosecutor Edgeworth, what do you think about this? Huh. Mr. Wright has called all manner of witnesses to the stand over the years. So why not a robot? Nothing surprises me anymore with him. Well, lest we forget, when I called the parrot, that was to save you. Very well, I will allow the witness. Bailiff, please summon the robot named Ponko. Let the robot take the stand. Sorry. Sorry if that scared anybody. Witness, please state your name and occupation. My name is not Witness. My name is Ponko. Yes, I realize that. But when you are at the witness stand, you are the witness. No, I'm not. I'm Ponko. Say it with me. Ponko. What an utterly inflexible little robot. You're the last person who should be calling anybody inflexible. Ha! You remind me of my grandchild who just learned his own name. Oh, how precious. Alright, Ponko, I'm going to ask you some questions. Questions? You have questions? Hooray! What are your questions? I want to know if you were there at the scene of the murder of Miss Sykes. It was 7 years ago, on the 7th of October, around 2 p.m. in the robotics lab. She's gonna say that... I'm calling it here, the robot's gonna say that information is not available, or it's been erased, or something. Certainly, just one moment. Searching data. Search complete. Yes! I was... Oh! Okay. I thought for sure... Because didn't we try to ask her something, or ask it something, at one point, and it said the information was not on file, or it had been erased or something? It would seem this robot's testimony is necessary to this case after all. This is great. I just knew Ponko must have seen something important. A murder committed right before this poor little girl's eyes. It's inexcusable. The judge seems ready to adopt Ponko as another grandchild. So, little Ponko, do you think you can give us your testimony today? Alright then.